Listen carefully, for what I'm about to share with you is the dividing line between the life you've been living and the life you are destined to live. For 25 years, I studied the minds of more than 500 of America's most successful men. Titans like Andrew Carnegie, Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, and John D. Rockefeller. And after decades of searching, I discovered something profound. Something so simple, so powerful, that it remained hidden from the millions who struggle daily with poverty, doubt, and despair. They all practiced a ritual, a quiet discipline at dawn that programmed their minds for victory before their feet even touched the ground. This ritual wasn't superstition, it was science, it was psychology, and it was the unseen force behind every empire they built. Now let's contrast this with most people today. You and I both know the pattern. The alarm goes off and immediately the mind fills with the same fears about money, the same doubts about ability, the same regrets of yesterday. Most people rise from bed already defeated. Their day hasn't even begun, but mentally they've already surrendered. This is what I call the poverty of mind. It is why 98 out of every 100 people remain stuck in mediocrity, chained to lives of quiet desperation. Not because they lack talent, not because they lack opportunity, but because they lack control over the first moments of their own mind. What if I told you that the first 5 minutes after you open your eyes determine whether you succeed or fail that day? What if I revealed to you that every great fortune, every monumental achievement, every human breakthrough didn't begin in boardrooms or factories, but in those silent minutes at dawn when a determined mind whispered words of power to itself? The mind is both a transmitter and a receiver. When you speak with conviction, you broadcast orders directly into your subconscious, and the subconscious does not argue, it does not doubt, it accepts. And once it accepts, it begins immediately to manifest that command into your reality. This is not theory, this is law. Andrew Carnegie knew it, Henry Ford trusted it, Thomas Edison lived by it, and now it is your turn to claim it. Carnegie would rise before the world stirred, stand before his window, and declare his intention so forcefully that those who met him later in the day could feel that power radiating from him. Edison, in the quiet of his laboratory, affirmed his connection to the infinite source of all knowledge before he touched a single wire. Rockefeller, Schwab, Ford, none of them began their days with idle chatter or random distraction. They began with deliberate, commanding words. And here's the truth. You've been letting your mind run wild. Like an untamed horse, it's carried you wherever fear and doubt wanted you to go. But when you harness it, when you bridle it with discipline, it becomes your greatest ally. The men who built steel empires, who revolutionized industries, who electrified the world, they all lived by an unshakable declaration, I am the master of my fate. Think about those words. They are not poetry, they are law. Charles Schwab began with nothing, $1 a day laborer in Carnegie's mills. But every morning he stood before his mirror and declared with conviction that one day he would not only work in those mills, he would run them. And he did. He became president of U.S. Steel and earned an unimaginable salary. Do you see? He didn't wait for the world to change. He commanded himself to change. Why this matters to you, every circumstance you live in today is nothing more than the echo of yesterday's thoughts. If your dominant belief is that you are powerless, your life will reflect powerlessness. If your dominant belief is that you are the master of your fate, your life will bow to that command. Henry Ford was mocked endlessly when he announced he would build an affordable car for the masses. Experts proved it was impossible. Bankers insisted he'd go bankrupt. But Ford knew something they did not. Every morning he declared that he was in control of his destiny. And when setbacks came, and they came by the dozens, he didn't surrender. He reminded himself of the law, I am the master of my fate. That belief built an industry that transformed the world. Now let's bring this home. Tomorrow morning, before you touch your phone, before you check the news, before a single distraction has the chance to poison your mind, I want you to look in the mirror and declare with full emotion, I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. Say it like your life depends on it, because it does. Your subconscious will not respond to empty words, but when you combine those words with belief, with burning feeling, you activate a law as certain as gravity. Think of your mind like fertile soil. Whatever seed you plant in it, it will grow. Plant fear, and fear grows. Plant courage, and courage grows. Plant, I am the master of my fate, and you plant the seed of dominion over your life. This is only the beginning. This is the first step in reclaiming your life. But understand, words alone are not enough. You must give your mind direction. You must give it a definite target, a burning aim that organizes your actions and your energy. And that brings us to the next chapter, where we will uncover the second great anchor of success, definiteness of purpose. So before you move forward, let me ask you, will you rise tomorrow the same as today? Or will you rise tomorrow as the master of your fate? Because here on Napoleon Hill Success Secrets, we don't negotiate with weakness. We build power, discipline, and destiny. Subscribe now and step into the company of those who choose to command their future, not suffer it. Most people don't fail because they're incapable. They fail because they're directionless. They wake up, glance at their phone, scatter their energy across half-hearted attempts, and wonder why life feels like driftwood caught in a storm. A ship without a rudder doesn't cross oceans. It only circles the harbor. The great achievers knew this. That's why they lived by one unshakable sentence. My definite chief aim guides my every action. Not some days, not when it's convenient, in every action. That single commitment is the line between drifting and destiny. Think of Edwin C. Barnes. He had no money, no credentials, no introductions, but he carried a definite chief aim. I will become Thomas Edison's partner. Not employee, partner. He showed up in Menlo Park with nothing but conviction. He didn't get the role that day. He got a small job. But each morning before the sun rose, he declared his future, lived like it was already true, and prepared himself for the moment opportunity appeared. Years later, when Edison needed someone bold enough to sell his dictating machine, Barnes stepped forward, not as a dreamer, but as the man who had already become the answer. His wealth was proof, but the greater truth was this: life organizes itself around a mind with a definite aim. John D. Rockefeller was no different. At 23, he fixed his aim, become the world's greatest oil refiner. That single sentence shaped his decisions, killed distractions, and built an empire. Purpose turned noise into signal, effort into empire. Definiteness of purpose is not a wish. It is not a fantasy on a vision board. It is a filter. It accepts and rejects. It says yes to the mission and no to the distractions. A chief aim is 1,000 silent no's in service of one loud yes. When you choose an aim, you burn the bridges of maybe later. Your subconscious is like a precision engine. Give it a fuzzy target and it idles. Give it a vivid, emotionally charged aim and it begins routing unseen resources, ideas, people, opportunities, patterns that were always there but hidden from you. This is not mysticism. It is the way selective attention and identity work. You see what you seek. You move toward what you repeat. So tomorrow morning, stand in front of the mirror, look into your own eyes and declare with conviction, my definite chief aim guides my every action. Then follow it with the second anchor that unleashes capacity. I possess within me all the power I need. Say it slowly. Say it with posture, with breath, with force. Don't whisper like you're begging. Speak like you're commanding. Because you are not pleading with the world, you are programming yourself. Now, how do you design an aim that actually moves your life? First, write it clearly in one sentence. What you will achieve, who you will become. Then attach a burning why, reasons that leave no exit. Define 3 daily actions that drive it forward, and build a no list of the distractions you refuse for 90 days. Visualize it done, then rehearse the actions. Track them daily. Review them weekly. This is not complicated. It is consistency, and consistency compounds into inevitability. Imagine a guided missile. It doesn't fly straight. It constantly corrects course until it hits its target. That's your aim. The sentence is the coordinates. Your daily actions are the thrusters. Your weekly review is the guidance system. Without coordinates, you burn fuel in circles. With them, even imperfect actions converge on the target. Your mind is the same. Unfocused. It blurs. But once you set a definite aim, the blur sharpens. You suddenly see the call you must make, the habit you must kill, the opportunity you must seize. Clarity saves years. Beware of the traps that kill purpose. Vague goals, too many priorities, secret aims that no one holds you accountable to, waiting for motivation instead of following the schedule, perfectionism that delays action. Kill them all. Purpose first, feelings second. The feelings you want live on the other side of the actions you resist. 2 minutes each morning is all it takes. Speak your aim. See it completed. Whisper it again. Then begin the first action before you touch your phone. 2 minutes to prime. A lifetime changed. Most people wake up every day hoping for discipline, waiting for motivation, praying for clarity. But the greats didn't wait. They built themselves on a structure so strong, so consistent, so unshakable that success became their natural state. That structure is what I call the 4 pillars of power. These are not suggestions. These are daily non-negotiables. And when practiced together, they transform your life from scattered and fragile to precise and unstoppable. The first pillar is mind. You cannot outperform your own thinking. Your results will always rise or fall to the level of your thoughts. That's why every morning for the next 90 days you must feed your mind deliberately. Not with noise, not with gossip, not with the endless scroll, but with power. 1 full hour of intentional input. Read high-quality books. Reflect on your own actions. Write down insights, affirmations, and goals. This is not entertainment. This is software installation for your brain. Carnegie did it. Edison did it. Rockefeller did it. They guarded their mental diet as carefully as they guarded their fortunes. So tomorrow morning, remember this phrase, I am the master of my fate because I master the food I give my mind. The second pillar is body. Your body is not decoration. It is your engine. When the engine sputters, the vehicle stalls. That's why every day you must move. Run, lift, stretch, box, whatever it takes to sweat. 30 minutes at minimum, an hour if you can. You're not training for looks, you're training for resilience. Every drop of sweat is proof that weakness no longer negotiates with you. Ford worked long days, Rockefeller worked grueling hours, but both knew the body had to be strong enough to carry the vision. You must remember, a weak body cracks under pressure, but a strong one endures storms, and storms will come. The third pillar is mission. This is the one most ignore. They go to work, they trade hours for wages, but they never dedicate sacred time to their dream. That ends here. Every day, give your mission 90 minutes of undistracted, deep focus. No phone, no interruptions, no excuses. If you're a writer, you write. If you're building a business, you build. If you're learning a skill, you practice. And if you don't yet know your mission, then your mission is to find it. Because 90 minutes a day for 90 days is more than 100 hours of mastery. That is the time block that builds futures. That is where momentum is born. And the fourth pillar, the one almost no one respects, is stillness. In a world drunk on stimulation, silence is rebellion. 10 to 20 minutes each day, sit without input. No phone, no noise, no voices, just you and your breath. Why? Because a restless mind cannot focus, and a distracted mind cannot create. Edison would retreat into silence until ideas flashed like lightning. Rockefeller walked alone to think. Carnegie sat in solitude to plan. Stillness is not idleness, it is alignment. It's the reset button that sharpens your vision and strengthens your resolve. These four pillars, mind, body, mission, stillness, are your daily fortress. They are the proof your subconscious needs to believe you are no longer who you used to be. And when you commit to them without compromise, something begins to shift inside you. You stop needing motivation. You stop negotiating with weakness. Discipline becomes identity. But there's one more law, one final rule that makes the four pillars indestructible. It's the rule the weak fear, but the strong live by. No negotiation. That's what we uncover next. So remember, tomorrow morning, before the world has a chance to touch your mind, build your fortress, feed your mind, move your body, build your mission, sit in stillness, and whisper to yourself with absolute conviction, I possess within me all the power I need, because when the four pillars stand, nothing, no storm, no critic, no setback can bring them down. Most people lose the war with themselves, not because they're weak, not because they're incapable, but because they negotiate. They wake up, see the alarm clock, and bargain with it. 5 more minutes. They know they should train, but they debate it. They know they should focus, but they delay it. And every time they negotiate, they send a silent message to the subconscious, my word means nothing. That is why the greats lived by one rule, no negotiation. Think about Cortez landing in Mexico with 600 men. His first command, burn the ships. Retreat was no longer an option. It was victory or nothing. That's what no negotiation looks like in your life. You remove the exit. You make failure more painful than persistence. When you say you will rise at 5, you rise at 5. When you say you will train, you train. When you say you will give 90 minutes to your mission, you give it. No negotiation. Not with tiredness, not with laziness, not with doubt. Discipline isn't built when it's easy. Discipline is built in those moments when comfort whispers and you answer back with action. This is where boys become men. This is where dabblers become dominators. Because success is not a talent problem, it's a negotiation problem. The undisciplined talk themselves out of greatness. The disciplined do it anyway. So tomorrow, when resistance shows up, and it will, remember this, discomfort is the price of the next version of you. You will not get transformation on sale. You will pay for it daily in effort, focus, and consistency. But once it's paid, no one can take it from you. Repeat these words until they own you. I do not negotiate with weakness. I do not negotiate with excuses. Say it, feel it, live it. Because when you stop negotiating, you stop restarting. And when you stop restarting, you finally build momentum. This is why by day 30, most people quit. Not because it's impossible, but because they renegotiate their standards. They change the rules mid-game. They tell themselves, I'll ease up today and go harder tomorrow. But tomorrow never comes. Momentum dies. Not you, not anymore. You've burned the ships. You've made the contract. From this moment forward, your word is law. If you write it down, it happens. If you speak it out, it's done. This is the rule that separates those who try from those who transform. No negotiation. And when you embrace it, something powerful happens. The old you, soft, fragile, full of excuses, starts to die. And the new you, relentless, disciplined, untouchable, starts to emerge. That is the gift of this rule. That is the furnace in which greatness is forged. So lock this in. From this day forward, no more deals with weakness. No more bargains with laziness. No more discounts on discipline. You rise. You execute. You live by command, not by mood. There comes a moment in every transformation where the old self starts whispering, begging you to stop. It tells you it's too much, too hard, not worth it. That voice is resistance, and most people obey it, but not you. You've chosen the 90-day path. You've chosen to burn the blueprint of your old life and build a new one. And in 90 days, the world won't recognize you. This is not theory. This is not hype. This is math. 90 days of radical consistency rewires the mind, rewires the body, rewires the identity. 90 days is enough to replace old patterns with new ones. It's enough to prove to yourself that your word is law. It's enough to rise above the 98% who drift, delay, and quit. The first wall will hit around day 7. The excitement fades, the honeymoon is over, and all that's left is you and the work. This is where most people fold. But you, this time, you push through, because you know that resistance is not the enemy. It is the signal you are evolving. By day 30, boredom arrives. The grind feels repetitive. Progress seems invisible. This is where the undisciplined get distracted. They chase shiny new paths. But you stay. You keep swinging when no one's watching. You trust the process. Because while nothing seems to be changing on the surface, everything is shifting underneath. By day 60, momentum begins to appear. You wake up sharper. You move with clarity. The habits that once felt forced now feel natural. Discipline is no longer something you do. It's who you are. People around you start to notice. Your energy is different. Your presence stronger. And by day 90, the breakthrough arrives. Your environment looks different. Your results are undeniable. But more importantly, your identity has changed. You no longer negotiate with weakness. You no longer wait for motivation. You no longer ask, what should I do? You command yourself with one question, what must be done? And then you move. This is the secret of every empire builder, every innovator, every man or woman who rose from obscurity to greatness. They gave themselves fully to a season of transformation. They sacrificed comfort for clarity, excuses for execution, weakness for power, and because of that, they emerged unrecognizable. So here is your command. For 90 days, live by the pillars. Feed your mind, strengthen your body, build your mission, guard your stillness, speak the words with conviction. I am the master of my fate. My definite chief aim guides my every action. I possess within me all the power I need. I do not negotiate with weakness and then prove it daily without fail. Understand this. Discomfort is temporary. Discipline is forever. Motivation fades. Identity remains. The old you will try to return. Don't let him. The man or woman you're becoming is forged in these 90 days. Hold the line. Stay the course. Pay the price. And when you do, when you emerge on the other side, you won't need to tell anyone you've changed. They'll see it in your eyes, in your posture, in your presence. They'll feel the power before you say a word, because you'll no longer be the person they once knew. You'll be the proof that transformation is real. This is your moment. This is your season. 90 days. No excuses. No retreat. No negotiation. Build in silence. Rise in power. And when you return, return unrecognizable. This is Napoleon Hill's Success Secrets. Subscribe now. Commit fully. And join the few who refuse mediocrity and demand greatness. Your future self is waiting. Your 90 days begins now.